This former NBA All-Star just dropped 40 points last month at age 36. But you probably forgot he still existed. 7 forgotten NBA legends vanished from the spotlight, and where they ended up will shock you. One became a basketball mogul in Asia, another tried stabbing strangers with sewing needles, and the most surprising story? I'm saving that for last. Number 7, Isaiah Thomas. At 5 feet 9 inches, Isaiah Thomas wasn't supposed to dominate the NBA. But in 2017, this undersized giant averaged 28.9 points per game, earned the nickname King in the Fourth, and single-handedly carried the Boston Celtics to the Eastern Conference Finals. He was playing through the pain of his sister's tragic death, scoring 53 points in a playoff game just one day after her funeral. The league took notice. Isaiah was about to land a $200 million max contract. Then, everything collapsed in 17 seconds. Game 7 against Cleveland. Thomas drives to the basket, lands awkwardly, and destroys his hip. That injury didn't just end his season, it ended his career as we knew it. The Celtics traded him to Cleveland, where he became a shell of himself. Then came the nightmare years. Bouncing between 8 different teams in 6 seasons, going from superstar to bench warmer to completely unwanted. But here's what nobody expected in 2025. Isaiah Thomas just signed with the Salt Lake City Stars G League team in January and immediately dropped 40 points in his first game back. At 36 years old, he's still working out for NBA teams, still believing he can make one final comeback. While other players his age are coaching or commenting, Thomas is grinding in the minor leagues, chasing a dream that died 8 years ago. The question everyone's asking, is this inspiring persistence or heartbreaking delusion? Number 6, Dwight Howard. Remember when Dwight Howard was Superman? 8 All-Star appearances, 3 Defensive Player of the Year awards, and he single-handedly carried the Orlando Magic to the 2009 NBA Finals. For a brief moment, he was the most dominant big man on the planet, the heir apparent to Shaquille O'Neal's throne. Then his attitude destroyed everything. Howard demanded trades, clashed with coaches, and developed a reputation as a locker room cancer. His back injuries didn't help, but it was his personality that really killed his career. By 2022, he was out of the NBA entirely, labeled as more trouble than he was worth. Most players would fade into obscurity, maybe start a podcast or become a coach. Not Dwight Howard. In 2024, Superman found his new kingdom, Taiwan. He's not just playing for the Taiwan Mustangs, he's a part owner of the team. The Taiwan government even gave him a gold card for his contributions to basketball development in Asia. He's playing alongside DeMarcus Cousins, mentoring young players and actually running basketball operations. Here's the shocking part. Dwight Howard might be more successful now than he ever was in the NBA. He went from unwanted journeyman to basketball mogul in less than 2 years. Number 5, Jeremy Lin, February 2012, Madison Square Garden. An unknown Harvard graduate named Jeremy Lin exploded onto the scene and created the most unlikely phenomenon in NBA history, Linsanity. For exactly 25 games, Lin was the most famous athlete on the planet. He dropped 38 points on Kobe's Lakers, hit game winners against Toronto, and had the entire world watching this undrafted Asian American kid rewrite basketball history. Then reality hit hard. Injuries, inconsistent play, and the pressure of expectations crushed Lin's momentum. He bounced between teams, never recapturing that magic, and by 2019, he was completely out of the NBA. The kid who briefly conquered basketball had been forgotten by the league that made him famous. Number 4, Ben Gordon. Ben Gordon was the first rookie in NBA history to win 6th Man of the Year in 2005. He averaged 21.4 points per game in his prime, revitalized the post-Jordan Chicago Bulls, and seemed destined for a Hall of Fame career. Then Derrick Rose arrived, Gordon got pushed aside, and his world spiraled into absolute chaos. What happened next is the darkest story in this entire video. Gordon retired in 2015 and immediately fell into severe depression. But this wasn't just sadness, this was clinical mental illness that nobody around him recognized. Or number 3, Lance Stephenson, born ready. Lance Stephenson became a cult hero in 2014 when he blew in LeBron James's ear during the playoffs. That single moment defined his entire career. The ultimate energy player who could get under superstars' skin while putting up 14 points, 7.2 rebounds, and 4.6 assists per game for the Indiana Pacers. After that peak season, Stephenson got passed around the league like a hot potato. 7 different teams in 8 years, each one hoping to capture that 2014 magic, each one ultimately disappointed. His final NBA moment was actually legendary. He scored 20 points in just over 6 minutes, setting a league record, but the Pacers still didn't re-sign him, so what's Lance doing now that basketball's over? He's rapping, full-time. And according to comment sections everywhere, he's actually not terrible at it. Stephenson is making music, building a following, and genuinely seems to enjoy his second career more than his first. From blowing in LeBron's ear to dropping beats, only Lance Stephenson could make that transition work. Number 2, Taco Fall story starts in Senegal, where he slept on a mat in a 1-bedroom apartment, ate 1 meal a day, and wore sandals held together with tape. Moving to America at 16 with nothing to lose, he grew into a 7-foot 5-inch giant who became an instant fan favorite despite barely playing. The Boston Celtics crowds would chant louder for Taco in garbage time than they did for Jason Tatum in clutch moments. He represented hope, determination, and the power of dreams against impossible odds. But the modern NBA had no place for a player who couldn't move laterally or shoot beyond 3 feet from the rim. After just 37 career games across 2 seasons, Taco was out of the league entirely. There's a saying in basketball, once you go to China, you don't come back. Taco proved that rule wrong by landing with the New Zealand Breakers, where he's still playing at age 29. He'll never return to the NBA, but he achieved something most people never will. He made it from absolute poverty to professional basketball, even if it was brief. Number 1, DeMarcus Cousins. Around 2017, DeMarcus Boogie Cousins was the most dominant center in basketball. He averaged 25 points and 10 rebounds for the Sacramento Kings, pioneered the three-point shooting big man before it became trendy, and was about to sign a $200 million max contract with the New Orleans Pelicans. Then his Achilles snapped. That injury didn't just cost him 1 season. It cost him $195 million and his entire identity. Cousins went from all-star to journeyman overnight, bouncing between 6 different teams, with each stop more desperate than the last. His attitude, once tolerable because of his production, became a liability when his body couldn't keep up. Warriors GM Bob Myers revealed the brutal truth when Cousins called asking why nobody wanted him. Because people are afraid of how you're going to act. You have to be better than everyone else just to get a chance. And that's not fair, but that's the truth. Here's the most surprising part of this entire video. Cousins is now playing in Taiwan alongside Dwight Howard, and he's completely at peace with his NBA chapter being over. In his own words, "My 12 years in the league were a small chapter in my life, and I'm ready to move on to the next." No bitterness, no desperation for a comeback, just acceptance and moving forward. 7 forgotten stars, 7 completely different endings. Howard became a basketball mogul, Thomas still chases impossible dreams, and Gordon's story serves as a warning about mental health in sports. The most shocking revelation? Sometimes the players who seem to fail find more happiness than those still fighting to return. Which story surprised you most? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. If you want more deep dives into forgotten athletes, Smash that subscribe button and hit the bell icon. I've got stories about NFL and MLB legends that will blow your mind. Share this with someone who misses these players.